Hi, I'm Davy, and I'm awesome! And welcome to Davy's Awesome Wrestling, where I review wrestling-related things all from the perspective of a fan, not an insider. And this last week was the annual Royal Rumble, an event I always look forward to because it's always exciting. And I speak too soon. The event started with the Universal Championship match, Roman Reigns defending the title against Seth Rollins. A little strange to me that they would open the show with this match, but whatever. It was also a nice touch that Rollins has been taunting Roman Reigns with the fact that he's the one that broke up the Shield, and they've been making it out to where Roman Reigns is still very disturbed by that. So Seth Rollins comes out to the Shield music entrance and garb. And even another nice touch when very quickly in the match, Seth Rollins did the Shield bomb to Roman Reigns onto the table. Could we call it the Shield bomb? I mean, it used to be done by 3 people. We knew what he was getting at. But the real drama in this match wasn't the wrestling itself. The wrestling was good. It's always good. It's Seth Rollins. It's Roman Reigns. They can't go wrong. But the real drama was the constant taunting by Seth Rollins to Roman Reigns. To the point that you could feel for Roman Reigns getting pissed. Like Seth Rollins taunting was the equivalent of some guy holding you down and doing this to your forehead and going, "Is that bothering you yet? Is it bothering you yet? Is it bothering you yet?" In fact, pissed Roman Reigns off to the point that the end of the match was Roman Reigns getting Rollins in the guillotine choke, Rollins getting the ropes, and Roman Reigns refusing to break the hold. Therefore, Roman Reigns is disqualified, Seth Rollins wins. So technically, Roman Reigns has still never beaten Rollins in the matches that count. However, he's still the champion, so does it matter? And so even though, again, I don't really like them opening the show with a main event match like this, it was a good opener, so I would give the first match a good 4 out of 5. Yeah! Then the second match was the Women's Royal Rumble. Now, obviously, I can't go into every single woman who came out, but I'll tell you the openers were Sasha Banks and Melina making her special appearance, although she didn't last long. But I will mention the special appearances. There was Kelly, who also didn't last long. Michelle McCool, who lasted a while. Cameron, who didn't last long. Ivory as her right to censor gimmick, who also didn't last long. Brie Bella, who lasted a little while. And Mickie James, who did last a little bit, but what was interesting about Mickie James was we all knew she was going to be in the Royal Rumble. They've been advertising it for quite a while now. Impact champion Mickie James is going to be in the Royal Rumble, which was kind of cool. It's the whole Forbidden Door thing that everybody's getting all into. But what we were wondering was she going to come out as the Mickie James she is now, the hardcore country Mickie James, or were they going to make her come out as WWE Mickie James, the cheerleader-looking girl? Well, no. She came out as hardcore country, with her Impact Championship and everything. Alicia Fox, Summer Rae, who we also knew was going to be there, and Nikki Bella. Sarah Logan, who had an emotional moment with her old friend Liv Morgan. Lita, who again they had announced was going to be there. Mighty Molly. And, of course, the most surprising entrant, Ronda Rousey. Although, as soon as we saw Ronda Rousey come out, we were pretty sure we knew who the winner was. And we were right, because it came down to Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair, because they were kind of teasing that Charlotte Flair was going to win, because, well, it would be believable. They just love to hand Charlotte Flair accolades. They're just really trying to force us to believe that she is the best women's wrestler out there. But sorry, we're not buying it. She's good. She's very, very good. But she's not even close to the best. Get over it, WWE. But she was eliminated by Ronda Rousey, which I don't mind that Ronda Rousey won. I actually think it's kind of cool. It's a great way to come back. And, of course, there's unfinished business between both her and Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. But I don't know. I just kind of felt it was a little messed up. They had 14 special appearances in this Royal Rumble. 14 out of 30. That means almost half of the participants in the Women's Royal Rumble were just throwbacks and nostalgia, which, I'm sorry, says a lot about their current women's division. I also thought it was weird there was absolutely no call-ups from NXT or NXT UK, like Raquel Gonzalez or Io Shirai. And for them to make their appearances at the Royal Rumble would have been great. But WWE has no faith in their women's division. They haven't really been pushing their women's division all that much. You know, aside from the 2 champions that they are basically telling everybody are unbeatable. However, despite all that, it was still an exciting Rumble, so I can't take that away from it. And it was kind of cool to have Ronda Rousey come back and win, because of course this is setting up for WrestleMania, so whomever she picks, I'm sure it's going to be a great match. So I will go ahead and give this Rumble a good 3 out of 5. Yeah! Third match for the Raw Women's Championship, Doudrop challenges Becky Lynch. For God's sakes, please put her back to being Piper Niven. That name is so horrible. It was a good match, though, as I was expecting. Because I was excited for Doudrop to get this match because, well, she was rocking it in NXT UK. She was doing great. And Becky Lynch, as much as I don't like how they're pushing her too much lately, nobody can take away from her talent. So it was a good match, but it was predictable. Except for the very end. I didn't believe there was any chance that Doudrop was going to win that night. However, I thought Becky Lynch was going to have to put her in a disarmor because with her being so much bigger than Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch, yeah, sure, she's strong, but she's not like ridiculously strong where she can lift somebody that much bigger than her. They found a way to make it work for the manhandle slam. She had to do it from the middle rope so that she could get the pin and retain her title. But like I said, because of the match being hard-hitting and everything, and just putting somebody new into the main event picture, I guess, and hopefully continuing to do that, which I doubt. But definitely have to give this one a good 3 out of 5. Yeah! The fourth match for the WWE Championship, Bobby Lashley challenges champion Brock Lesnar. I've made it clear I'm not a big fan of Bobby Lashley, and I'm an anti-fan of Brock Lesnar. Can't stand Brock Lesnar. I don't understand his appeal other than, he's big! So what? But even I wanted to see this match, even though I felt the build-up was done wrong. I really felt like this match should have waited until WrestleMania, and I really felt like this match should have just been a good old-fashioned blood feud. No titles on the line. I felt that cheapened it. I really felt that this should have just been Bobby Lashley saying, no, I'm the real beast, and trying to take that title off of Brock Lesnar. But whatever, we're in the situation we are, so hopefully we can get a great match out of this. And it looked like we were going to get that. Till the ending. When instead of letting Bobby Lashley beat Brock Lesnar clean, they had to have Roman Reigns come out, Paul Heyman turning coat on Brock Lesnar, so that Roman Reigns could cost Brock Lesnar the championship, and Lashley could win. Setting up for more Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar crap that we're all sick of. Especially because Bobby Lashley winning clean, that story had wrote itself. Could have just been simply Brock Lesnar lost because he severely underestimated his opponent, which is something that happens in real life, and now he wants a rematch. Bobby Lashley doesn't want to give him the rematch until WrestleMania. But no, instead they had to make somebody who's almost as big as Brock Lesnar, in my opinion much more athletic than Brock Lesnar. He had to win the title cheaply, making it seem like he can't beat Brock Lesnar. Because God forbid we actually let it look like somebody can beat Brock Lesnar. We can't do that. That would be anarchy. So I give this one a 1 out of 5. Then one of the matches I was actually pretty interested in seeing, Miz and Maurice versus Edge and Beth Phoenix. The It couple versus the Grit couple. I know that tagline was cheesy, but I liked it. I will say, though, it let me down a little bit. It was good. It was pretty good. I think they just overhyped it a little. It was a little too chaotic, in my opinion. Like, I figured it was going to be chaotic, but a little too much. It was hard to follow what was going on sometimes. But it did have a nice touch for the ending, with the Grit couple getting a double spear, followed by a double glam slam, and Edge using the glam slam to pin The Miz. Like I said, it was cool. I liked it. Just wasn't as great as I was expecting. However, still good enough to where it did get a solid 3 out of 5. Yeah! And then the Men's Royal Rumble. Now, before I get any further, people were asking me before the Royal Rumble, what's your prediction? Well, my prediction was this. I predicted that Brock Lesnar was going to keep his title, and then he was going to go into the Royal Rumble and win it to set up for title versus title against Roman Reigns. Because WWE is ridiculously convinced that that's what we all want to see, even though we've made it very clear we don't. I mean, they had Brock Lesnar challenge Roman Reigns to that. He said no, so they just went on to him and Bobby Lashley, and nobody cared. That's our way of saying we don't care. However, Brock Lesnar lost the title. So this Royal Rumble became predictable from that moment. The Royal Rumble opened with AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Two guys I would have loved to have won this Royal Rumble. I know Shinsuke's won before, but I would have loved for him to win again because, honestly, he is a main eventer that they're just not using. AJ Styles is a proven main eventer, and I would love to see him go after the WWE or Universal Championship. Him and Roman Reigns would be fantastic at WrestleMania. However, knew they weren't going to win. The special appearances were severely cut down in this one. Whereas the Women's Royal Rumble had 14 special appearances, this one only had 3. One we've known about all month with Johnny Knoxville, who didn't last long because, let's face it, he's not a wrestler. This is kind of like when they put Drew Carey in the Royal Rumble. Then there was Bad Bunny, which, if he wants to be a wrestler, then go train and become a wrestler. But stop making appearances. And Shane McMahon, which was a nice touch, but we knew none of these guys were going to have a chance to win. Not only that, most of the Royal Rumble entrants were tag teams. And when we see tag teams, we know they're not going to win. Like, we knew that neither Chad Gable or Otis were going to win. We knew that neither Montez Ford or Angelo Dawkins were going to win. They were just filler. One thing I was very disappointed as is they've got these 3 special entrants. They got all these tag teams. Where was Cesaro? Where was anybody from NXT or NXT UK? None of them were in the Royal Rumble. And then as time is going on, we're getting closer and closer to number 30, and exactly as I was predicting from the moment Brock Lesnar lost his championship, number 30, Brock Lesnar, who comes in and cleans house because he's Brock Lesnar and he's unbeatable, making it come down to him and Drew McIntyre, which I would have rather Drew McIntyre win. Because actually, Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns, they only had one match, and it was at Survivor Series, and it was one of those kind of meaningless matches. It didn't mean anything, it wasn't title for title, it was just bragging rights, yet it was still a really good match. Like, if they could give us that match for just bragging rights, imagine what they could give us at WrestleMania for the championship. But predictability won, and Brock Lesnar eliminated Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar is the winner. Because, like Charlotte Flair, Brock Lesnar is the guy we just gotta hand every accolade to. We gotta make him seem unbeatable. Heck, he's part-time and we pay a crap load of money for the part-time. We gotta get our money's worth. I've said before with Royal Rumbles, really the only way to ruin them is to have the winner be terrible. Well, I was wrong because the Men's Royal Rumble itself wasn't all that exciting. Especially because there wasn't a whole lot of people coming in that we thought even had a chance of winning the Royal Rumble. It was very few that we actually believed could win the Royal Rumble. And those few, most of them we didn't want to. Like, nothing personal, but I don't want to see Randy Orton win again. So this year, for the Royal Rumble, another 1 out of 5. Ugh. So, the 2022 Royal Rumble overall sucked. Like almost every WWE pay-per-view this year. Sucked, especially the major ones. Last WrestleMania wasn't very good. SummerSlam was awful. Survivor Series, honestly, I'd have to go watch my own video again because I don't remember how I felt about that one. So it must not have been that great. Royal Rumble, I was hoping would be the one that saved it before this year's WrestleMania, and it didn't. It was terrible. There was only one really good match, and that was the opener. And everything else after that was just okay to crap. The Women's Royal Rumble was pretty good. Not fantastic. Not what I'm used to with Royal Rumbles, which is sad because Royal Rumble is one of the events I look the most forward to every year. I love the Royal Rumble match itself. But again, the women's one wasn't that great. It showed how weak you've let your women's division become, because there's no real stars in your women's division except for the 2 champions, which is ridiculous because they were the hot young up-and-comers back in 2014. It's now 2022, and you have yet to elevate anybody else. And the few times they elevate someone, they just bury her back down, i.e. Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair this year. So much so that to get a main event, you had to go grab Ronda Rousey and bring her back. The WWE Championship match was terrible. Had the potential to be great, but it was terrible because the ending was awful, and it's setting up for what we don't want to see. And then the Men's Royal Rumble was terrible. Like I had mentioned, not just because of who won. That was bad enough. But there wasn't enough people built up to where we really believed anybody in that Royal Rumble was going to win other than a few people. It honestly came down to thinking it was going to be Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, or Brock Lesnar. Drew McIntyre wouldn't mind, but it wouldn't have been my ideal pick. My ideal pick would have been Cesaro. He wasn't even in the Royal Rumble. He and Seth Rollins had the best match in WrestleMania last year. All of WrestleMania. Whereas Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks had the match of the night on the night 1, overall the best match in WrestleMania was Cesaro and Seth Rollins. It was great, and it put Cesaro over. And for a minute, WWE made us think that Cesaro was somebody they were going to start putting in the main event, which is what we've been wanting for a long time. And then he just got buried back down. This would have been the perfect opportunity to push him back to the top. But he wasn't even there. But it doesn't seem like he's popular enough to where people are going to start really protesting about the fact that he wasn't even there, kind of like they did with Daniel Bryan years ago. And then the winner of the Royal Rumble was the most predictable winner we could have gotten. And even since then, he's now in the Elimination Chamber to get the WWE Championship back, which is making me predict that they're just going to go another route to what I didn't want in the first place. He's going to win the WWE Championship, and since he's the Royal Rumble winner, he's going to challenge Roman Reigns. It's going to be title for title, and we're going to have another Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar that we just don't care about. Putting an extra title on the line doesn't make me want to see that match. It really doesn't. I don't care. I'm bored with that match. I'm as bored with that match as I am with Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. I'm as bored with that match as Randy Orton versus John Cena. I'm bored with that match. And the thing is, it's not just me. A lot of people are out there expressing, we're bored with that match. Ever since last WrestleMania, it has been nothing but crap every month. Like I've talked about, I honestly wouldn't be watching WWE right now if it wasn't for reviewing it. It's gotten so bad. And the thing is, WWE has become WCW. It is not elevating any new stars. They only know how to keep the same couple of guys and couple of girls in the top spots so that people are getting bored and changing the channel. That's why their ratings are going down. That's why more than ever people are getting tired of it. And it's a stupid move considering, like WCW, you now have competition. We have places we can go watch now. A few years ago, when you were the only game in town, we kind of just had to deal with it or not watch wrestling at all. But now, there's so much out there. Some people keep pointing out, well, they're getting ready to sell WWE. So don't you want to sell it when it's worth more? So overall, one great match and a couple of good matches doesn't make up for the fact that there were 2 1s on this. So, ultimately, with how disappointing Royal Rumble was, I give the entire event a 1 out of 5. Yeah. So there you have it. That's my wrestling review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it a lot more than I enjoyed the Royal Rumble. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications for when I post new videos, and leave a comment. Tell me what you thought of the Royal Rumble. Love you guys.